Hello students, let us continue the home enablement system today also, the second part. So in this video we are going to discuss about smart induction stoves, smart refrigerator, smart alarms, smart toilets, smart floor and smart locks. Let us start with the smart induction stove. Now, cooking is one of the oldest of technologies, right? And for obvious reasons, right? It's very old technology. Humans would never have survived without perfecting the art of feeding themselves. The basic idea of cookery, heating food to kill the bacteria and make something nutritious and tasty, is fairly prehistoric. Food plus fire equals cooked food is roughly how it goes. That is not an awful lot of difference between roasting a hunted animal on an open outdoor fire, as our ancestors would have done, and cooking it with electricity or gas in an oven, as we do today. That's not to say there has been no progress in cooking technology. In the 20th century alone, ingenious inventors came up with two brand new forms of cooking. One, the microwave oven uses a high energy radio waves to heat food quickly and efficiently in a fraction of the time you need with a conventional stove. The other one is induction cooking. That induction cooking uses electromagnetism to turn cooking pans into a cooker, like creating a heat energy inside the pan itself. Instead of firing it from outside, it will create a heat energy inside the pan. So it uses the electromagnetism to turn the cooking pans into cookers, which cooks food more quickly and safely with less energy. Everyone knows about microwave these days, but induction cookers are much less well understood. Let's take a closer look at exactly what they are, how they work, and whether they are better or worse than more familiar form of cookery. What is induction? Before you can understand induction cooking, you need to understand induction. And the first thing you need to know is that induction is a shortened way of saying electromagnetic induction. In a nutshell, induction means generating electricity using magnetism. It stems from the simple fact that electricity and magnetism are not separate. They are not unconnected things, as you originally learned from school, but two different aspects of the same underlying phenomena, electromagnetism. Induction in practice. Now, you don't need to know much about electromagnetism to understand induction cookery. Simply that a changing electric current can make magnetism and a changing magnetic field can make electricity. This much you should know. When you hear someone talking about induction or something that uses induction, all it means is that magnetism is being used to generate electricity. A common use for induction is in electric toothbrushes, which have one or more rechargeable batteries packed inside. The trouble with electric toothbrushes is that they get wet, so they need to have completely sealed plastic cases to keep their mechanism safe and dry. But that creates a different problem. If they are completely sealed against water, then how can you get electricity inside to recharge them? A conventional charger socket would be an open invitation to water as well. That's where the induction comes in. When your toothbrush battery runs flat, you sit it on a little plastic charger unit to recharge it. Although there is no direct electrical connections between the toothbrush and the charger, because both are made of plastic, but Electromagnetic energy flows from the charger into the toothbrush battery by induction, straight through the plastic that separates them, right? A coil of wire in the charger produces a magnetic field that induces an electric current in the similar coil in the base of the toothbrush. Now you can understand, right? So how does an induction cooktop work? An induction cooktop is called now in European countries we call it as a hob. Induction cooktop is simply an electromagnet you can cook with. Inside a glass cooktop, there is an electronically controlled coil of metal. When you turn on the power, you make a current flow through the coil and it produces a magnetic field all around it and directly above it. Most importantly that. Now, a simple direct electric current, one that is always flowing in the same direction, right? That's called simple electric current, direct electric current. As simple direct electric current produces a constant magnetic field. One of the laws of electromagnetism is that, what is that? Fluctuating magnetism is produced only by a constantly changing electric current, right? You have studied that. So you have to use an alternating current, one that keeps reversing direction. That's called AC, right? So you have to use an alternating current to make a fluctuating magnetic field that will indirectly produce heat. So that's all that an induction hob does. It generates constantly changing magnetic field. It does not generate heat directly. You can put your hand on the top of it, but you won't feel a thing. But I'm giving you a warning. Don't ever put your hand on the cooktop that has recently been used for cooking, because it may have become dangerously hot from the cooking pan and that is standing on the top of it. So don't put that. So when you stand a suitable cooking pan on the top of an induction cooktop that is powered up, the magnetic field produced by the cooktop penetrates the metal of the pan. So we have a fluctuating magnetic field moving around inside a piece of metal, the base and the sides of the pan. And that makes an electric current flow through the pan too. That's all that induction means. Now, this is not quite the same as the electric current that flows through the wire, carrying electrical energy in a straight line from, say, a battery to a bulb. It's a kind of swirling electric current with lots of energy but nowhere to go. We call it as eddy current. So, as it swirls around inside the metal's crystalline structure, it will swirl. SWIRL, swirl. It dissipates its energy. So, the metal pan gets hot and heats up whatever food is inside it. First, by conduction, it passes its electrical energy direct to the food, conduction, but also by convection. The liquid food rises and falls in the pan, carrying heat with it. So you can Google and read about heat energy, heat transfer, about heat transfer later. So advantages of induction cooktops. If you can really easily cook with electric ring or a gas powered stove, why use an induction cooktop at all? Okay, why to use? There are quite a few reasons, good reasons. First one is efficiency and speed. A traditional cooker generates heat energy some distance from the cooking pot or a pan and attempts to transport as much of that energy into the food as possible with varying degrees of success. If you have ever cooked food on a campfire, you will know that it's great fun but takes forever. The main reason is that a huge amount of energy you produce on an open fire is radiated out into the atmosphere. They're great for ambience but very slow and inefficient. Even cooking at home can be quite inefficient. You're wasting energy heating the cooktop. And in the case of stove and roaring gas flame, the air are all around your pots and pans, right? That will take all your heat out. But with induction cooking, the heat is produced in the pan, not on the cooktop. and much more of the energy goes into the food. That's why induction cooking is more energy efficient than most of the other methods. Around 84% compared to 71% for a traditional cooktop. Induction cooking also gets energy to the food more quickly because pans that gets hotter faster cook faster, right? That becomes hotter faster, so that cook faster. Typically, it's around 20 to 50% faster than other methods, which can be a big plus for restaurants if it helps get dishes to the table more quickly. That's a efficiency and speed. The next one is convenience, control, and safety. See, induction cookers are usually built into a ceramic or a glass cooktop, similar to halogen cooktops. But these are all which are very easy to keep clean, and with just a quick wipe will clean it up. Magnetic fields they produce make heat appear in the pan almost instantly, and they can make it disappear instantly too. That's very different from traditional heated pans, which take a while to get hot, and there is a greater risk of burning your food if you don't pay attention. You can burn the heat up and down with as much as speed and control as a gas cooker, unlike a traditional electric cooktop, which takes some time to heat up and cool down, right? But this is very faster. Even so, it is different form of cooking, and it does take some getting used to. You have to learn which numeric value on the dial corresponds to the amount of heat you need, and that takes practice. To be fair, that applies to any new form of cooking you might try. On the other hand, induction cooktops are easy to switch on and off automatically. So some features built-in, some features like built-in timers, built-in temperature sensors, and even remote control from simple smartphone apps. There's no open flame on the induction cooktop, and no heat to burn you until there's a cooking pan actually present. Heat appears only when the cooking pan is in place, and the cooktop itself can never get any hotter than the pan sitting on top of it. Electronically controlled cooktops can detect whether pans are standing on them and how much heat they are producing, and most will cut the power out automatically if they are left on by mistake, or if a pan starts to boil dry. So these are all smart things. Induction cookers built into ceramic cooktops. Induction cookers built into ceramic cooktops are only a couple of inches thick, so they can be fitted at any height. It is good for disabled people in a wheelchair who might want a low-level kitchen. Next advantage is less pollution. See, combustion type cooking, natural gas flames, or even in developing countries, open fires, makes significant amounts of indoor air pollution. Gas stoves, for example, generate surprising amounts of nitrogen oxides. Gas is more commonly associated with diesel engine and outdoor smog. Although electric cooking can still give off particulates, that's called unhealthy fine particles of air pollution. Particularly if you are doing things like frying, it is cleaner and better for your health. It creates less pollution. So let's come to the drawback side. Drawbacks of induction cooktops. Until recently, cost was the biggest disadvantage. A typical induction cooktop could be 2 or 3 times more expensive than an ordinary electric or gas cooktop. And even though you would save energy, the energy savings were not usually significant enough to pay back the difference. The price of induction cooktop has now fallen significantly, and there is much less difference in cost compared to ordinary ceramic cooktops. Even so, don't buy an induction cooker with the expectation that you will see your energy bill fall down. Cooking represents only a small fraction of the total energy most people use at home, and any savings you do make will be modest. Another drawback is is that induction cooking only works properly with the cooking pans containing iron, the only metal that effectively, efficiently produces electrical eddy currents and heat from magnetic fields. Copper and aluminum pans and glass cookware don't work at all. Iron-based pots and pans compatible with the induction cooktops are widely available. So the cookware issue is only really a problem if you have a large collection of existing unsuitable cookware you are not prepared to replace. Indeed, some people even see it as an opportunity to upgrade. If you're going to replace your cookware, you could invest cool touch pots and pans made specially for induction. Some have insulated outer bodies, made from ceramics or heat-proof plastics that say relatively cool to the touch, but with the lumps of stainless steel and iron embedded in them to pick up the magnetic field from the cooktop and turn it into heat. Some are built-in temperature sensors that help the cooktop to regulate the power that it needs to supply, which also enables automatic remote control from things like smartphone apps. So two other minor issues worth noting are that induction cooktops can produce a small amount of noise from built-in cooling fans. That's a small noise, and radio frequency interference that might pose a very small risk for people who are wearing a heart pacemaker. So no greater than the risk posed by the other everyday electrical equipment, but we have to think about it. So should you buy an induction cooktop? If you like the speed and control of gas, but prefer the wipe clean convenience of ceramic cooktop, and the relatively high initial purchase cost is not an issue, induction cooking might be worth considering. But don't buy to make savings through electrical energy or energy efficiency. You probably won't. Check your existing cookwares before you buy. But if you have to purchase an entire new set of quality pots and pans, that could add significantly to the outlay of switching to induction cooking. Let's see about smart refrigerator. Smart refrigerators feature a touchscreen interface and the ability to connect to the internet through Wi-Fi to provide a number of additional features. Smart refrigerators include internal cameras, more flexible user-controlled cooling options, and the ability for you to interact with its feature using your smartphone or a tablet when you are away from home. Some smart refrigerators can even connect with other smart devices in your home, such as speakers, smart TVs, and even your smart dishwasher or smart microwave. So what are the smart refrigerator features? While exact features included will vary by brand and model, here is an overview of some of the many things you never knew a fridge could do. Keep in mind, not all smart refrigerators have the same features. So you can use the touchscreen interface to coordinate schedules for every member of the family. And look up recipes, have your fridge read the steps while you cook. Create grocery lists that sync into your mobile phone or smartphone in real time. Set expiration dates and receive notification to use food while it is fresh. Upload photos for display. Create individual profiles for each family member to send them personal notes and to-do list. Create a whiteboard option to leave messages for your family. Transparent touchscreens allow you to look inside the fridge without opening the door. Cast from a smart TV in another room to watch from the kitchen. So these are all the touchscreen interface usage. The touchscreen is not only the novel thing a smart fridge can do. You can also use your smart fridge features to customize temperature by drawer or compartment. There are many drawers, right? You can customize temperature. Use interior cameras while at the store to double check if you are low on milk or eggs. Alert you when the water filter needs to be changed. It will turn the ice maker on and off from your smartphone. So I will tell you some ways, that smart refrigerators impress. Some models of smart refrigerator provide both cold and hot water. You select a temperature and the amount of water you want to be heated, and your smart refrigerator sends a notification to your smartphone when your heated water is ready. A few even come with the Keurig signal single cup of tea or single cup coffee maker built in some refrigerator. So that will saving your counter space and making your morning routine just a bit simpler. You can it will be ready, the coffee will be ready. Smart refrigerators have also incorporated sensors to make opening the doors with your hands with your hands full no trouble at all. Just you can click on your mobile phone, it will open. Sensors in the door sometimes respond to a gentle bump by opening the door for you. Just slightly hit, it will open. Some models have sensors at the bottom of the unit that respond to foot gesture to open the fridge door for you. If you approach the fridge by once your footsteps are approached very closer to the door, it will open automatically. That's a kind of sensor. And if the door is not closed securely, the sensors respond and automatically pull the door shut to keep your food fresh and prevent cool air from getting out and running up your electricity energy bills. So these are the common features actually. I will have some questions, common concerns about smart refrigerator, some questions. With all of the features, connectivity, many people have concerns about whether a smart refrigerator is a smart decision or not. Let's go over some of the common concerns many people have when it comes to making the investment in a smart fridge. Aren't smart refrigerator much more expensive than regular refrigerators? That's the first question. While they started out quite a bit more expensive, the prices have come down significantly as more brands and models have become available. Choosing a smart fridge over ones with a bottom drawer freezer or French door style could cost a couple of 2,000 rupees extra 2,000 or 5,000 rupees extra more, or as much as couple of lakh more, right? It's kind of thing. So you can spend thousands instead of 10,000s. It all depends on the model and brand you choose. Next question is, can someone hack my smart refrigerator and take it over and use it against me in some nefarious way? The important thing to remember about all home technology, smart home technology that connects to the internet is that it typically uses the same Wi-Fi access you have set up for your other devices to access the internet, such as your smartphones, tablets, computers, TV streamer devices. You always want to have your modem or router configured with the proper security, right, and complex passwords to ensure the safety of all of your connected devices and appliances. You might also be wondering what could be hacked. Well, the smart refrigerator usually means a built-in computer with a screen and access to the internet. You can log into services you use every day, so that for instance, your calendar appears on the refrigerator screen. That login information could be taken and used in other places. And another reason why unique passwords for every service you use lot of sense. Everything has some sort of vulnerability. So it remains to be seen how manufacturers handle these kind of problems. Next question is, are repairs for smart refrigerator more expensive than ordinary refrigerators? Yeah. No. That means the main components of the refrigerator, such as condenser coils, fans, compressors, and so on, would cost the same to maintain or repair as a regular refrigerator. It's still a fridge, right? Ultimately, where there could be a potentially be extra cost for repairs would be if special features such as hands-free door opening sensors, built-in coffee maker, and touchscreen interface. If these were to break down or fail, then you need to spend a lot. However, manufacturers designed a smart refrigerator with a typical family use, and the average fridge lifespan will be about 15 years in mind. Next question is, will my smart refrigerator become obsolete when a new model comes out? Wi-Fi connectivity means your smart refrigerator could receive new software updates and likely new features as they are developed and released. Your smart fridge should get smarter and stay up to date with the latest technology over time. And most technology companies send through software updates during the night to avoid hassles for the users. So updates should seem almost seamless. How do I run smart diagnosis on a LG fridge? Okay. To run a smart diagnosis, download the LG ThinkQ mobile app for iOS and Android. Launch the app and select settings, smart diagnosis, start smart diagnosis. Simple. How do I turn off the microphone on my Samsung smart fridge? Tap the microphone icon on the refrigerator touchscreen to turn it off and on it whenever you want. The icon turns red when it is off. It's so simple actually. When did the first smart fridge come out? Okay. Internet connected refrigerators were a reality as for back as 1998. But the LG launched one of the first smart refrigerator to the public in June 2000. The Internet Digital DIOS model has a price tag of more than 1.6 lakhs. Okay, so this is about the smart refrigerator, and we will see the next topic, smart alarm. Now, smart alarm. As recently as 10 years ago, consumers did not have access to technology that let them manage their own home security systems. But smart alarm systems have changed that. Originally, traditional security systems were hardwired right into the home and monitored by a central station, usually a home alarm company. The customer paid monthly fees. Fast forward, and today, consumers have smartphones, home networks, and wireless technology, all of which that smart alarm system can utilize. People can buy door sensors to detect if someone is outside, or door locks that can be monitored and potentially controlled from one cell phone. In essence, smart alarm systems may be able to empower the customer to build their own network of security while retaining control, usually through their cell phones. So what are the benefits? And more homeowners are installing their own smart alarm systems. The benefits are many. First one is price. The smart alarm systems can be cheaper because customers avoid paying someone else to install and monitor them. Second one is do it yourself. DIY. Do it yourself. Many people enjoy the do it yourself aspect of smart alarms, since they can choose the technology and components that they feel best meets their needs. Next one is control. Because smart alarm systems do not need to involve an alarm monitoring company, the customer can retain control. Many house owners prefer this level of involvement in monitoring their home security. What are the challenges then? One of the challenges smart alarm systems pose to the customer is the risk of being hacked. Improper home network configurations, flaws in the devices, or password compromise could allow a hacker to break into the system and determine if someone is at home or even seize control. Homeowners can take these three precautions to help prevent hackers from accessing their smart alarm systems. First one is secure the device password. Passwords can include a mixture of upper and lower case letters as well as numbers and other characters such as question marks, exclamation points to help increase security. Also, change default passwords and avoid reusing passwords on multiple sites. Next point is understand the device and data it processes. Some devices may take photos or videos that may present privacy concerns. Some smart alarm systems rely on cloud technology for data storage and processing, but users should fully understand any privacy implications of the device and related data, as well as any protections afforded by the device manufacturer. For instance, is video from a camera retained, and if so, is it encrypted and protected if it is sent to the cloud storage? Next one is apply software updates. Many smart devices are new to market and may contain programming flaws. It is important to apply security patches and updates when they are made available by the manufacturer. So these are the 3 points. Additionally, recognize that your entire system may not be designed to function during a power outage if there is a power failure. To help ensure that your system continues to function during a power failure, if you do not have an automatically starting generator, considering employing sufficient battery backup to power the Wi-Fi systems, control panels, and all the security monitoring equipments. Consumer access to smart technology goes well beyond home security, enabling the consumers to manage and monitor many aspects of home ownership, such as water leak detection, loss of building heat, the ability to open and close garage doors remotely, and the ability to turn on or off some appliances, small appliances like light, whatever technology you are planning to use to monitor or control aspects of your home. Travelers professionals emphasize reaching out to an organization or individual with expertise in smart home technology for help. Now let's see about smart toilet. Whether you are remodeling your bathroom or you are just considering a new toilet, smart toilets are worth a look. Not only are they cool or super techy, they also make your life a little easier. Though there are many types of smart toilets, most have some basic features in common. Smart toilets come packed with added features and sensors that perform a wide variety of functions beyond just flushing. Some top of the line models even connect to the internet, so you can stream music or use a voice assistant like Amazon's Alexa. What are the benefits? Smart toilet benefits. In addition to offering an enhanced bathroom experience, smart toilets often use far less water than conventional toilets. That makes them a great choice for the eco-conscious consumer and those looking to save utility bill. They also boast conveniences such as self-closing lids and night lights. These kind of features are ideal for kids, seniors, and people with disabilities. Smart toilets are often more compact than traditional toilets, making them a greater choice for anyone in a small space too. So what are the popular smart toilet features? Let me explain one by one. Touchless flushing. A sensor notes when you move away from the toilet, or when you wave a hand in front of it for convenient. And hygienic flushing. First and foremost, they flush without being touched. Each toilet has a sensor that activates the flushing mechanism. Either it senses when the body has been moved away from the toilet and it activates a flush, or you can wave a hand in front of the sensor to get it to activate. If you're cursed with the family members who forgot to flush, the first type of sensor is ideal. No matter which one you use. The perk of having a sensor instead of a handle is that germs won't get transferred from hands to the toilet and then to the next person who flushes. Next one is the overflow protection. So as a parent, one of the must-haves on my list when I refurbished my bathroom was a toilet that doesn't overflow. I choose the Delta Brevard with Flush IQ technology. It stops you from flushing if the toilet is clogged, which keeps water levels in the bowl low. Some smart toilets can help avert an overflow by preventing you from flushing when there is a clog. That's a overflow protection. Next one is a water savings and power sources. Smart toilets save water, but they also use electricity. So their environmental benefit is questionable. But you will see a difference to your water consumption. Smart toilets sense how much water is needed and flush using just the right amount. The smaller flushes can use a little as 0.6 gallons of per flush, GPF we'll say. That the basic toilet that does not have smart flush technology uses around 1.6 gallons, but the smart toilets will use 0.6 gallons of water. Next one is the automatic lid. So sensors also know when to raise or lower the lid. Automatic lid. Next one is a seat warmers. So most smart toilets don't just warm the toilet seat, but they even let you specify exactly how much Toastify you prefer it. Next one is a night light. There is no stumbling in the dark when you have a smart toilet that automatically flips on an ambient light when it gets dark. Next one is a spray adjustment. Prefer a bidet? Then consider purchasing a smart toilet like Woodbridge luxury bidet toilet. It comes with a bidet feature that lets you specify your desired water pressure and temperature and other wash settings. Self-cleaning features. So smart toilets come with everything from the robotic cleaning arm to ultraviolet light to keep things clean. Models like Toto Washlet G400 integrated toilet also features a deodorizer, in addition to several other self-cleaning features. Next one is a remote control. A remote control lets you input your desired settings and manage your smart toilet at the press of a button. One model with the remote control access that gets top mark is the BioBidet Bliss BB2000. I'll give you some more smart toilet features. Smart toilets range in price from a couple of $100 to $1,000 to rupee. If I convert, multiply by 80. 200 into 80, 1,600 rupees to 200 into 80. Yeah. And thousands to that level, depending on the features. You can get a basic toilet with just automatic flushing and water sensors, or you can get a fully loaded version with all the bells and whistles, such as a New Wave Smart Toilet. I'll give you some options that are available. First one is a massaging bidet wash. Next one is air dryer. The features. Next one is heated seatings. Next one is foot warmer. Okay. Or other one is a automated flush. Built-in sensors that alert you to possible tank leaks. Some will have a self deodorizer. Some will have emergency flushing system during power outages, and some will have night lights. Some will have Bluetooth and MP3 capability, so you can listen to tunes while you go, right? So what are the flip side? The drawback. All of that swanky technology needs power. There are two power options. Some smart toilets use batteries to power their smart functions, while others need to be connected to your home's wiring system. The battery option is best for those who don't want to call an electrician, though a wired system may suit you if you would rather not regularly change your toilet's batteries. Now let's see about the smart floor. As a sport engineers, we develop a lot of systems to help athletes perform better. Many of these systems help by giving the athletes and their coaches more information about the way they move whilst they perform a sporting action. This includes measures such as speed, direction, and many other specialized measurements for biomechanical analysis. An example of such a system is our smart floor or a dance floor, something which lots of visitors to the museum exhibition that have been asking about and inquiring how it works. To give you an overview, I'll give you a rundown of what actually it is, and what all the bits in the system are, and how they work, and what the system can be used for. So what is a smart floor? Smart floor is a custom built piece of equipment designed and manufactured by two scientists at the Center for Sports Engineering Research. The two people scientist name is Ben Heller and Terry Senior. As its name suggests, that the smart floor is just that, intelligent floor. Through the intelligent tiles, the floor is able to determine where you are stood on the floor surface and the way you are stood. The smart floor consists of number of intelligent tiles mounted on a supporting framework, a projector, and a projection screen, and a controlling computer. All put together, it is called smart floor. How does it work? The functionality of the smart floor is achieved through its intelligent tiles. Think of each tile as an electronic bathroom scale, and the floor as lot of bathroom scales connected together. So before we can start to understand how the smart floor works, we need to understand the principles behind a bathroom scale. When you take the top of a typical electronic bathroom scale, you will see something similar to the picture. You see the left hand side picture. The silver bars you see crossing the scale are in contact with the top of the scale. So it contact with the top of the scale when it is fitted. The bars are pivoted in each corner of the scale, meaning when someone stands on the top of the scale, the bars are allowed to move downwards. Correct? The bars are all connected together so that when they move down, they press on the large silver block. You can see at the bottom middle of the scale, bottom middle. This metal block is actually a load cell, and it is this which is used to determine how much you weigh. What is your weight? It will measure. Look at the second picture. Okay, the load cell in the scale, the second picture looks something like a load cell is in the second. Look at that. There is nothing magical about a load cell. It is actually just a block of metal with a hole cut in the middle and some simple electronics. So we'll now talk more about how the load cell works. When weight is applied to the scale, the bars push down on one end of the load cell and deform it slightly, while the other end remains fixed. Correct? This means that the metal block from which the load cell is constructed is bent in relation to your weight. This bend is measured using a strain gauges inside the load cell, which convert the mechanical bending action into electrical energy. A close-up of a typical strain gauge found inside the load cell is shown in the figure right side. You look at the figure right side. The strain gauge is essentially a number of loops of stretchy wire mounted on a equally stretched or stretchy packing. The strain gauges are glued to the metal block of a load cell, so that the load cell is bent. The strain gauge is allowed to expand its length. As a load cell bends, the strain gauge will expand in length. This also means that the wire loops in the strain gauge will also expand, and it will increase its length. Just like when you stretch a rubber band as a loop, the wire loops are stretched in length. So they also become thinner, right? So you remember that. This change in size of the wire loops changes their electrical property. You got it? So look at the diagram, the diagram in the middle down. That explains, that will explain you. To help understand this, consider water moving through the pipe. It is much easier for water to flow through the big pipe than a small pipe, right? Equally, it is much easier for the water to travel a short distance than a long distance. Electricity is just the same. So when it passes through the wire coils in a strain gauge, while no load is applied, it just passes. It flows easily as the wire loops are short and thick. When the load is applied, the wire becomes longer and thinner, right? So the less electricity can flow through the wire and also has a longer distance to travel. The reduction in the flow of electricity in this way is known as resistance. The resistance of a strain gauge this particular strain gauge resistance will change with the weight applied to the scales, directly proportional. The changing resistance of the strain gauge can be measured by connected electronic circuit and used to determine the weight that was applied. So with this background, we can now start to look at how our smart floor works. So I will show you an image, right? You look at the image now. The image now you see right hand side shows the underlying framework when two tiles have been removed. You can see that just like the bathroom scales, there are load cells which are pressed down by the tile. The tile presses directly on the load cell, so we have no need for metal bars we saw above. The big difference you notice is that each tile or scale has 4 load cells under it instead of just 1. This is the magic ingredient. With the 4 load cells under each tile, it means that not only can we determine the weight applied to the tile, we can also determine where it is applied. The strain gauges in each load cell are wired back to the circuit board, as you can see that in the same picture. The circuit board looks at the changing resistance of the load cells, and this uses this information to determine the weight applied to the tile and where it is applied. So you determine the weight and where. The circuit board is a custom made circuit board with an onboard programmable chip to do the required mathematical calculations. The chip, also known as a PIC chip, which is essentially a smaller and a simpler version of the processor chip that are found inside every computer nowadays. The smarter floor is a network of tiles that works in such a way that we can detect not only where someone is stood on each tile, but where a group of people are standing on the floor. Many people. So what can we do with it? So that's all well and good. We can determine the weight and pressure applied to the tiles and where on the tile it is applied. But what can we actually do with this information? Or have we just made a big bathroom scale? I'll outline now some of the ways in which we have used the floor to up to date. At this moment, the smart floor we have installed at the museum. One museum is a smaller version of the one we have installed at the Center for Sports Engineering Research in a Sheffield Hallam University. The version it's been installed, you see the picture, works in exactly the same way but has 36 floor tiles. In addition to this, there is a projector mounted overhead, meaning that it can project images on the floor surface as well as in the front of the user. This opens up a whole world of additional possibilities. What is that? There are two things. One is computer games. An application of a smart floor which became quickly apparent was as a games controller for computer games. You play computer games, right? So here you can in a smart floor you can play computer games in a different way. The dance game used the smart floor on show is a prime example of this. The floor tracks where and how you are stood on the floor and uses this information to animate a virtual reality character that is displayed on the projection screen. The character moves around with you and leans from side to side as you move from one side to another side. Another example is the implementation of a traditional Pong game, Pong. A smart floor tracks where two players on either side of the floor are stood and uses this information to move a puck in a line with their feet. The game has an animated ball which players must prevent from exiting the court at their side by moving from side to side, which in turn moves the puck to allow the ball to be bounced back to the opposition. While these games are fun to do, it's also good for you. Applications such as this can be used to help encourage young children to become more active and to exercise more. Next one is a healthcare and rehabilitation. Applications in healthcare, rehabilitation, and in particularly sports was the primary intention of the floor when it was designed. Sports and healthcare professionals are often interested in a way which we can walk or run or something known as gait analysis. You know gait analysis? GAIT analysis. This is a very picking trend in technology nowadays. This involves measuring factors such as stride length and foot spacing. The smart floor enables factors such as these to be measured by detecting the location of the feet after a stride has been completed. Rehabilitation after illness or injury was another primary intention of the smart floor. Users can perform preset routines such as jumping or reaching at regular intervals and their performance analyzed to determine whether if they are improving over time or not. Users can be provided visual feedback by the projection screen as well as providing visual encouragement. A typical application in rehabilitation would be one of balance. The load cells in the smart floor enable you to determine if the user is learned to one side or not, meaning that we can get a measure of a person's balance. We have developed software to project an image on the tight rope onto the floor for someone to walk along and for the data from the floor to be collected while they do this. This allows to obtain balance information or measurements for a particular person, but also means we can test out many product designed to improve the balance and see if they have got any noticeable effect, and if we can see that effect. The last one is a smart lock. There are a lot of great smart devices out there that would be cool to have, but and then there are devices that will make you wonder how you ever lived without them sometimes. Smart locks are at the top of the list. With the smart lock, You can ditch your keys and enjoy the safety and convenience of managing your lock wherever you are. Take a look at how the smart lock works and some of the benefits they provide over a traditional door lock. So what are the smart locks and how do they work? Smart locks are keyless door locks, keyless, that allow you to open your door without a physical key. They can be controlled remotely using your smartphone app. Many models feature a numeric keypad on the lock for entering a unique access code. A smart lock connects to your home's Wi-Fi network, which allows it to receive the code or smartphone command to unlock or lock. While some smart lock require you to completely replace your entire lock system, others fit right over your existing lock system and only some few modifications are required. When smart locks are integrated into a complete smart home, they can also integrate with other devices like a smart speaker or your security system. However, they need to be connected to a smart home hub that enables all the devices to work together. Do you really need a smart lock? Your house key locks and unlocks your front door. That's it. But if you are looking for something more than bare bones basic functionality, then a smart lock is a way to go. Some of the ways smart locks make life easier. I will give you the list. Maybe 4 points. Control your front door no matter where you are. With a smart lock, your smartphone doubles as your key. There is no need to rush home to beat your guest or a delivery driver to the door. Simply log on to your app and unlock your front door from wherever you are. Second one is codes over keys. Codes over CODES. Codes over keys. If you have ever stood at your front door while digging through your bag to find your keys, you will appreciate the keyless functionality that lets you unlock your door with a simple code. No key required. Next one is no more hide keys. Smart locks eliminate the need for making copies of your key for everyone. This is also much safer than having a multiple choices or multiple copies of your house key floating around, protecting your home from potential burglaries. Next one is a notification. These notifications help you remember to lock up. If you have ever left your house in a rush to make it to work or drop off your kids on time, you know the worried feelings that comes out with wondering whether you have locked or not locked, or remember to lock your door. It's a hell. Many smart locks will send you notifications on your phone if you forgot to lock your door. So you can quickly lock it with the tap of a button. So smart locks as a part of an integrated smart home, how it has been, smart locks. So nowadays I'm also thinking to get a smart lock. Like most technology purchases, finding the better smart lock for your home requires a little research. If you want the best experience, then a smart lock from Vivint, VIVINT, is a way to go. Many companies offer an integrated smart home system where a smart lock can intelligently connect and interact with other smart devices to simplify your life and increase the security of your home. In addition to smart lock benefits listed here, a smart lock integrated system into your home smart home system makes life easier in a number of ways. I'll tell you. Know who is coming or going. You can make up to 30 unique access codes for everyone who needs to get into your house. So from a babysitter to a dog sitter to your own kids, your system keeps a log of which code was used and when it is used, so you know exactly who is coming and going. You can also receive notifications on your smartphone when a code is used. Next one is keep your packages safe. If you do online shopping, the threat of packages being stolen off your pouch is real. With the Doorbell Camera Pro from Vivint company, you can see when your delivery driver arrives, and then unlock the smart lock of your front door, and use the camera's two-way talk feature to ask him to put your baggage inside, all from your phone. Third one is create guest codes for visitors. Preparing for out of town visitors can be stressful enough without having to run and get a copy of your key and made or coordinate your schedule so you are home when they arrive. You think about visitors. Just make a temporary access code for your guests so they can come and go as they please. Then when they leave, you can delete the code. And the fourth point, create custom rules. You can also create custom rules for your smart lock, such as locking doors automatically after a certain amount of time, or arming your security system and turning off your lights when you lock your front door. You can make the rule. Last point, lock your door with the sound of your voice. Want to make sure your door is locked, but your smartphone is charging in another room? No problem. When your smart lock is integrated with the system that includes Google Home or Amazon Echo, just say, "Hey Google, lock the front door." It's that simple. So I have given a list and a list of smart home technology, and I hope you would have enjoyed. Just think and do projects on these smart devices. Wish you all the best. Thank you. Bye.